The locker room door slammed shut behind us like a gunshot in the dead of night, echoing off the cold metal walls of Lincoln High's football facility. Ryan's hand clamped over my mouth before I could even gasp. His breath hot and ragged against my ear as he pinned me against the lockers, the taste of salt and desperation flooding my senses. "Alex, I can't pretend anymore," he whispered, his voice cracking like thunder over the Ohio cornfields. And in that instant, our worlds shattered, best friends no longer, but something raw, forbidden, and utterly irreversible. I remember the exact moment it started unraveling, that humid Friday night in late September when the air in Milford, Ohio, hung thick as regret. We just crushed the rival Riverton Rockets 28-17, the stands erupting in a sea of red and white as the final whistle blew. I was Alex Harper, 18 and built like a farm boy, 6 feet of lean muscle from baling hay on my dad's spread and grinding through 2-a-d quarterback drills. Ryan Caldwell, my shadow since kindergarten, was the golden boy, quarterback extraordinaire, with that easy grin and tousled blonde hair that made every girl in school swoon. We were inseparable, the kind of duo that finished each other's sentences and covered for each other's sins. But beneath the high fives and post-game burgers at Dairy Queen, there was a current neither of us named, a glance held too long in the huddle, a brush of shoulders that lingered like static. That night, the adrenaline crash hit hard. The team filed into the locker room, a cavern of dented blue lockers and the sharp tang of Benghazi mixed with teenage sweat. Coach Harlan barked his usual spiel about character building and next week's grind, but my eyes kept drifting to Ryan. He was stripping off his pads, jersey clinging to his chest like a second skin, oblivious or maybe not to the way my pulse hammered. I'd known I was gay since I was 14, stealing glances at the Abercrombie models in the back of Dad's truck catalogs. But Milford wasn't exactly a rainbow parade. Coming out, that was a one-way ticket to whispers, beatings, or worse, disownment from the Bible-thumping folks who raised me. As the room emptied, the stragglers slapping towels and cracking jokes about Becky Lou's pom-poms, Ryan lingered. He tossed his helmet into his locker with a metallic clang, then turned to me, his blue eyes stormy under the flickering fluorescence. "Hey, Harp," he said, voice low, like he was sharing a play from the playbook. "Walk with me to the showers?" I nodded, throat dry as the Dust Bowl summers we'd sweated through. The showers were a no-man's land of white tile and pounding water, steam curling up like ghosts from our unspoken fears. We soaped up side by side, the ritual we'd done 100 times, but tonight the air crackled. I caught him staring, not at the wall, not at the drain, but at me. His hand brushed my hip as he reached for the shampoo, and I froze, suds sliding down my back like accusations. "Alex," he murmured, the water drowning out the world beyond. He stepped closer, too close, his body heat cutting through the spray. Before I could bolt, his lips crashed into mine, rough, urgent, tasting of Gatorade and goodbye. My brain short-circuited. I kissed back, hands fisting in his wet hair, the world narrowing to the slick press of skin on skin. It was everything I'd imagined in stolen moments under the covers, heart pounding like a bass drum at homecoming. Ryan, my Ryan, choosing me. But then he pulled back, eyes wild, chest heaving. "Shit, Alex. I didn't mean." His words tangled, panic flashing across his face like a storm cloud over the flatlands. He grabbed his towel, wrapping it around his waist like armor, and bolted for the benches, leaving me slumped against the tile, water pounding my shoulders, speechless. Hours. It was hours before I could form a sentence. The echo of his kiss branding me like a steer at the county fair. By the time I dragged myself home, the old Ford pickup rumbling down County Road 12, the moon hung low and judgmental over the silos. Mom was in the kitchen, apron dusted with flour from her apple pie ritual, Dad nursing a bud in his recliner, Fox News droning about some politician's scandal. "Good game, son," Dad grunted, not looking up from the screen. I mumbled a yeah, bolted upstairs to my room, the walls plastered with OSU posters and that faded photo of me and Ryan at the state fair, arms slung around each other, grins wide as the Wabash River. Sleep? Forget it. I replayed it on loop. The kiss, the recoil, the way his eyes had begged forgiveness before he even sinned. Was it pity, experimentation, or had Ryan felt it too? That pull like gravity in the hollows of Appalachia? Dawn crept in with the rooster's crow, and I texted him, "Locker room. We talk. Now." His reply buzzed back fast. "Can't. Practice later. Please, Alex." Please what? Dots danced. Then nothing. Radio silence, thicker than the fog rolling off the Scioto. Monday morning hit like a blindside tackle. The halls of Lincoln High buzzed with weekend gossip, who hooked up at the bonfire, whose truck got mugged in Jake's field. I spotted Ryan at his locker, laughing with Tommy Reese, the linebacker with a mean streak wider than his shoulders. Our eyes met across the chaos, and something twisted in my gut. Fear? Hope? He looked away first, cheeks flushing under that quarterback tan. Classes dragged, a blur of algebra equations and history lectures on the Civil War, but my mind was stuck in the steam. By lunch, I cornered him behind the gym, the chain-link fence rattling in the wind. "What the hell? You kiss me like that and ghost." He leaned against the bricks, scuffing his sneaker in the gravel. I panicked. Okay, my folks. Church. Everything. It was a mistake. A mistake. The word stung like nettles. Felt pretty real to me. His jaw clenched. That stubborn set I'd seen 1,000 times on the field. "Look, Alex, you're my best friend. I don't want to screw that up. Can we just forget? Forget the way your hands shook? The way you whispered my name like a prayer? I wanted to scream it, but Milford boys don't cry in parking lots." "Fine," I lied, voice steady as a snapped branch. Forgotten, but lies have half-lives, and this one was already decaying. The week blurred into a rhythm of denial. Passes thrown in practice, nods in the halls, silence in the texts. Then David Ellis transferred in from Cleveland, tall, dark-haired, with eyes like polished obsidian and a quiet intensity that turned heads. He was assigned to my chem lab, sliding into the stool beside me with a backpack slung low and a faint scent of city rain. "David," he said, extending a hand, his grip firm, calloused from who knows what urban grit. "Alex," I replied, trying not to notice the way his smile crooked, like he knew secrets worth keeping. We fell into easy talk, him roasting the periodic table, me cracking jokes about Ohio winters that could freeze hell. David wasn't like the Milford clones. He had stories of lakefront lofts and indie bands I'd only heard on Dad's crackly radio. By Friday's game against the Dayton Demons, he'd wormed into the periphery of our crew, cheering from the bleachers with a thermos of what smelled like spiked cocoa. We won, 21-14, Ryan scrambling for the game winner like a man possessed. Post-game, the locker room hummed again, but this time David hovered at the edges, chatting with the water boy. Ryan shot me a look, wary, possessive, as I clapped David on the back. "Welcome to the madhouse, newbie." David's laugh was low, warm. "Wouldn't miss it. You throw like a poet, Alex." Heat crept up my neck, and I busied myself with my laces, Ryan's stare burning holes. That night, at the victory bonfire down by the quarry, the air crackled with possibility. Flames licked the sky, casting golden flickers on faces flushed with beer and bravado. Ryan was holding court, arm around cheerleader Katie Sims, but his eyes tracked me across the pit. I sat on a log with David, passing a warm PBR, our knees brushing in the dirt. "So, what's the deal with you and Golden Boy?" David asked, nodding toward Ryan. I shrugged, the fire's heat mirroring the one in my chest. "Best friends. Since diapers." David's gaze sharpened, reading the subtext like a pro. "Looks like more than that from where I'm sitting." Before I could deflect, Ryan materialized, beer in hand, slurring just enough to mask the edge. "Harper, get over here." Shotgun contest. David raised a brow but stayed put as I wandered over. Ryan's challenge was half-hearted. We cracked cans against logs, foam spilling like confessions. Midway through, he leaned in, breath sour with cores. "Who's the city slicker?" "David. New guy." "Chill." Ryan's laugh was sharp. "Chill. Right. Just watch yourself, Harp. Not everyone's as they seem." The words landed like a cheap shot, and I shoved him off, the bonfire's roar swallowing my retort. By midnight, the crowd thinned, embers glowing like dying stars. David walked me to my truck, the gravel crunching underfoot. "Hey," he said, pausing by the tailgate. "If you ever need to talk, about mistakes or whatever, I'm around." His hand grazed mine, deliberate, electric. I pulled away, heart slamming, but not before memorizing the warmth. "Yeah. Thanks." Driving home, windows down, Luke Bryan crooning on the radio, I wondered if Ryan had seen. If that was why his texts stayed dark all weekend. Monday brought storm clouds, literal and not. Practice was brutal, coach riding us like we were colts at the Derby. Ryan and I synced on the field, but off it, the rift widened. Whispers started. Tommy Reese cornering me by the vending machines, smirking. "Heard you and Caldwell's got real cozy after the Demons game." "That true. Queer." My blood iced. "Screw off, Tommy." But the seed was planted, courtesy of whose loose lips? Ryan swore up and down it wasn't him when I confronted him in the parking lot, rain sheeting down like judgment. "I'd never out you, Alex. You know that, did I?" The kiss said yes, the silence screamed no. Enter David, my unwitting lifeline. We started hanging after school, study sessions in the library that devolved into debates over Springsteen versus Dylan, his laugh chasing shadows from my corners. One afternoon, rain trapping us in his borrowed Civic outside the diner, he turned to me, serious as a vow. "Alex, life's too short for pretending. I see you, the real you. And it's beautiful." His fingers traced my jaw, tentative, then sure. I leaned in, our kiss soft, exploratory, tasting of cherry coke and courage. It wasn't the frenzy of the locker room. It was a promise, blooming slow like dogwoods in spring. But promises in Milford, they break like cheap china. October rolled in like a freight train, leaves turning crimson and gold along the back roads. But the chill settled deeper than autumn's bite. Ryan's distance grew, a chasm widening with every dodged glance in the halls. He'd text at 2 a.m., "Miss you, bro. This sucks." Then ghost by dawn, leaving me scrolling through old photos. Us at Cedar Point, screaming on the Millennium Force, fishing the Muskingum at dusk. Lines tangled like our lies. David, though he was steady ground. We'd sneak off to the old drive-in on Route 22, the screen flickering with rom-coms neither of us watched. His hand finding mine in the dark. "Tell me about Ryan," he'd murmur, popcorn forgotten between us. I'd spill in fragments. The kiss, the recoil, the fear gnawing like termites in the eaves. David's eyes would soften, thumb stroking my knuckles. "He sounds scared. But you're brave, Alex. Braver than you know. Brave." The word felt foreign, like trying on Dad's work boots, too big, rubbing blisters. But with David, I started to believe it. We'd park by the quarry at twilight, windows fogged, exploring each other with the tentative hunger of firsts. His skin was olive smooth, marked by a faded scar from a skateboarding wipeout in Cleveland. Mine, freckled and rough from field work. Kisses turned to more hands mapping uncharted territories, breaths sinking like a well-timed snap count. "I got you," he'd whisper, and for the first time, I felt seen, not just glimpsed. But Milford's eyes are everywhere. Tommy's jabs escalated, shoving me in the halls, "Fag" scrawled on my locker in Sharpie. Coach pulled me aside after practice, mustache twitching. "Harper, rumors are poison. Keep your head down." Dad noticed too. His silence is heavier at the supper table, fork scraping plate like accusations. Mom hovered, offering extra pie, her worry lines deepening like furrows in the soy fields. Ryan cornered me one crisp Thursday after weights, the gym echoing with clanging plates. He looked wrecked, bags under his eyes, uniform hanging loose like he'd skipped meals. "Alex, we gotta fix this." I heard what Tommy's saying. "It's killing me." "Then make it stop," I snapped, wiping sweat from my brow. "You started it with that damn kiss." His face crumpled, hands raking through his hair. "I didn't mean to hurt you. I've been fighting this forever. My dad, he's got that trucker code. You know? Real men don't. But you're the only one who gets it." The vulnerability hit like a gut punch. We stood there, barbells silent witnesses, the air thick with what-ifs. "What now, I asked, voice cracking. He stepped closer, too close. The scent of his soap, Irish Spring, same as mine, stirring ghosts. "I don't know. But I can't lose you." Before I could respond, the door banged open. David, duffel slung over his shoulder, froze in the frame. His eyes flicked between us. Ryan's hand on my arm, my flushed face, and something shuddered in his gaze. "Practice over?" he said, tone even, but the edge was there, sharp as flint. "Yeah," Ryan muttered, dropping his hand like it burned. "Catch you later, Harp." David waited till the echo faded. Then, "Everything good?" I nodded, throat tight. "Just bro stuff," but doubt seeded. And by homecoming week, the sprouted thorns. The dance was Milford's Mecca, gym strung with fairy lights, punch spiked with whatever contraband the seniors smuggled. I went stag, David at my side in a borrowed button-down, looking like he'd stepped off a CW set. Ryan was there with Katie, king and queen crowned in glitter and cheers, but his crown sat crooked, eyes seeking mine across the throng. We danced, David and I, swaying to some pop-country mashup, his chin on my shoulder, whispering dreams of escaping to Chicago, where streets pulsed with possibility. You and me, Alex, against the world. The world, though, had other plans. Halfway through Wagon Wheel, my phone buzzed in my pocket. A text from an unknown. Check the Snapchat story. Your boy's spilling tea. Heart sinking. Pulled it up. There it was, a grainy clip from the bonfire weeks back. Ryan drunk ranting to Tommy by the cooler. Harper? Yeah. He's into dudes. Caught him staring in the showers once. Freaky shit. The gym spun, lights blurring into halos of betrayal. David peered over, face paling. Alex! I shoved through the crowd, bursting into the night air, gravel biting my dress shoes. Ryan found me by the flagpole, crown discarded. Ty askew. What did you do? I hissed, shoving the phone at him. His eyes widened, horror dawning. That's not, Alex. I swear, I was wasted. Tommy twisted it. I never. Twisted? It's your voice. Ryan, you outed me to save your own ass. Tears streaked his face, illuminated by the sodium lamps. I'm sorry. God, I'm so sorry. I was scared. Okay, of us. But I love you, Alex. Not like friends. Like more. The confession hung, raw and ragged, but the damage was done. Katie's shrieks echoed from the doors. Someone had shown her. Whispers would metastasize by morning. Love, I laughed, bitter as black coffee. Too late for that. He reached for me, but I jerked back. Stay away, Ryan. We're done. David appeared then, jacket off, draped over my shoulders. Let's go, he said softly, steering me toward his car. Ryan's sob followed us into the dark, a howl lost to the wind. The fallout crashed like a nor'easter. By Monday, the school was a minefield. Graffiti on my truck, Ferry Harper. Notes in my locker spelling out slurs in block letters. Tommy and his crew waited after chem, circling like coyotes. How's the boyfriend hunt? Princess, Tommy sneered, shoving me against the wall. David stepped up, fists clenched. Back off, asshole. Could have ended in blood, but Coach's bellow scattered them. Still, the isolation crept in, friends ghosting, Mom's worried glances turning to interrogations. Is it true, Alex? Those boys saying things. Dad's reaction was worse. A slammed door, Bible thumping on the table. This house don't tolerate that devil's work, son. Straighten up or ship out. Nights blurred into sobs under the covers. David's texts my only anchor. I'm here. We fight this together. He'd drive out to the fields, headlights cutting the dark, and we'd lie in the truck bed, stars wheeling overhead, his arms my fortress. You're not alone, he'd murmur, lips brushing my temple. But even fortresses crack. Ryan tried, God. He tried. Bouquets of wildflowers on my porch. Mom tossed them. Notes slipped into my playbook. Forgive me. Please. I burned them in the burn barrel, flames devouring the words like my trust. Then came the game against Central Catholic, the rivalry that split Milford down the middle. Ryan begged me on the field pre-kickoff, eyes pleading under his helmet. Play with me, Alex. Like old times. I nodded, numb, snapping the ball into his hands as the whistle blew. We moved like oil and water at first. Fumbles, missed routes, but by halftime, tied 14-14, something shifted. A deep pass, my spiral arcing perfect under the lights. Ryan's dive into the end zone, ball clutched like redemption. The crowd roared, but it was his glance back, grateful, broken, that pierced. We won 28-21, the field a mudslick of triumph. Locker room post-game. Backslaps, showers hissing. Ryan lingered again, but this time, David was there too, toweling off by the sinks. Tension crackled, thick as the steam. Alex, Ryan started, voice low. About the video, save it. I yanked on my jeans, avoiding both their stares. David's hand on my shoulder was gentle. Give him space. Man. Ryan's eyes flashed. Jealousy? Hurt? Who the hell are you two? His boyfriend? David cut in, calm but steel-edged. That's who. The room went pin drop. Ryan's face drained of color, then flushed crimson. Boyfriend? Alex? I met his gaze. Chin up. Yeah. Problem. He staggered back, hitting a locker with a thud. You. Moved on. Just like that. Not just like that. You pushed me there, Ryan. With your mistake. Tears welled, but he blinked them back. Jaw set. I get it. I deserve it. But know this. I never stopped loving you. He stormed out, door banging like a gavel. David pulled me close, but victory tasted like ash. Winter whispered in with the first snow, blanketing the fields in hush. David and I carved out stolen joy, ice skating on the frozen pond, cocoa steaming from thermoses, midnight drives to Columbus for a dive bar's open mic, his voice husky over guitar strings. This is us, he'd say, fingers laced with mine. Real, but Ryan's shadow loomed. He'd transferred out of our English class, but sightings haunted him at the diner, staring into coffee, passing in the halls, eyes downcast. Word was his home life imploded. Dad kicking him out after the rumors hit the church potluck. Mom pleading for counseling. Guilt gnawed. A rat in the walls. One blizzard night, snow piling high, he showed at my window, silhouette etched in blue-white glow. I cracked it, cold rushing in. What the? Can't do this alone, he rasped. Lips chapped, coat dusted white. Please, Alex. Just talk. Against better judgment, I let him in, boots tracking slush across the rug. We huddled on my bed, knees touching, the space between us vast as the plains. Dad found out, he confessed, voice fracturing. Called me an abomination. Said to pray it away. My heart clenched. I'm sorry. He looked up, eyes shattered glass. Don't be. I did this. To you. To us. His hand covered mine, trembling. But if there's any chance, the door creaked. Mom, silhouette stern. Alexander? Who's there? Ryan bolted, vanishing into the storm. Mom's eyes narrowed on the wet footprints. That Caldwell boy? I nodded, throat sealed. She sighed, sitting beside me, hand on my knee, first touch in weeks. Son, whatever's going on, we love you. But this town's poison. You gotta choose your path. Her words lingered, a crossroads in the snow. January's grip tightened, ice glazing the roads like lies we couldn't scrape off. School became a gauntlet. Tommy's crew escalating from taunts to shoves. A locker room wedgie that left bruises blooming purple. David fought my battles, decking Tommy in the parking lot, knuckles splitting on teeth, but the cost mounted. Whispers about him too. That city fag corrupting our boys. Coach benched him from scout team, muttering about distractions. Ryan, a ghost, haunting the edges. I'd catch him watching from the bleachers during winter workouts, bundled in his Letterman, face gaunt under the stadium lights. No words, just that look, regret etched deep as wagon ruts. One sleet-lashed afternoon, after I'd skipped last period to nurse a black eye in the nurse's office, David found me in the empty auditorium, stage lights dimmed to ghosts. "This ends now," he said, pacing the worn boards. "We're telling Coach. Hell, the principal. Can't let them win." I shook my head, ice pack numb on my cheek. "And then what? Dad pulls me from football? We get expelled? Milford eats its own. David," he knelt, ice fierce. "Or we fight. Together." Like I said, his conviction was a bomb, but fear was the fever. That night, holed up in his aunt's basement, his temporary crash pad since the transfer, we tangled in the sheets, bodies a language of defiance. David's touch was reverent, tracing the map of my scars, whispering, "You're mine, Alex. No one's taking that." Climax came in waves, crashing like Lake Erie storms, leaving us spent and sated, limbs entwined. But morning brought reckoning. Dad's truck idled in the drive when I got home, exhaust clouding the dawn. Inside, the kitchen reeked of burnt toast, Mom's tell for anxiety. Dad sat at the table, Bible open, face thunderous. "Sit," I did, stomach nodding. "Talked to Pastor Jim. About you." His voice was gravel. "He says it's a phase. Demons, maybe. But if it's true what they're saying, we get you help. Family counseling. No more of this. Confusion, confusion." The word twisted like barbed wire. "Dad, it's not. Don't." He slammed the book shut. "This family's got roots here, Alex. Church, team, land. You throw that away for boys? Over my dead body." Mom hovered, tears glistening. "We just want what's best. Honey, best for who?" I bolted upstairs, slamming my door, the echo a small rebellion. Text from David, "Call me. Love you." From Ryan, "Saw the shiner. My fault. Let me fix it." Fix it? Laughter bubbled, hysterical. I smashed my phone against the wall, screen spiderwebbing. The breaking point came mid-February, Valentine's Day of all ironies. The team had an away scrimmage in Toledo, bus rumbling through gray flats, corn stubble poking snow like accusations. Ryan sat across the aisle, knees bouncing, finally cracking. "Alex, truce? For the game," I grunted, staring out at passing semis. "Truce for the field. Off it, jury's out," He leaned over, voice a thread. Fair. But hear me out. I told my dad the truth. Full truth. About you. He didn't take it well. Kicked me out for good. The bus hit a pothole, jarring us. Saved my hide at a motel with savings from mowing lawns. But it's fine. Better out than choking inside. His smile was ghost thin. Point is, I get it now. The fear. And I'm done running. Something thawed. A crack in the permafrost. By halftime, down 10-7, we synced. My passes threading needles. His runs carving daylight. Victory 24-17. The bus ride home a roar of whoops. But in the Toledo locker room, post-shower haze, Tommy struck again. Snatching my towel, jeering, strip show for your boyfriends? Fists flew before I could blink. Ryan launching across benches, tackling Tommy into the sinks. Grunts, thuds, coach's whistle shrilling. Blood on the tile, Tommy's nose, Ryan's knuckles. Enough, coach roared, hauling them apart. Caldwell, Harper, my office. Now, suspended. Both of us. 2 games. Dad's fury was biblical when I confessed, belt cracking against the barn wall. Football's your future. Boy, this perversion. It's ruining you. I yelled back for the first time, voice breaking free. It's not perversion. Dad, it's me, gay. And Ryan, he's fighting for me. Silence, heavier than the snow. Mom's gasp, Dad's face crumpling. Not anger, but grief. Lord help us, he muttered, sinking into his chair. Ryan's punishment was worse. Dad Caldwell, trucker tough, cut him off cold. No house, no cash, just a duffel and the streets. He couch-surfed with teammates' pity, but pride kept him from asking more. I slipped him 20s from my hay money, left in his truck's glove box. Payback, I scrawled. No reply, but the bills vanished. David, my rock, cracked under the strain. Late March, after a guidance counselor's awkward talk on healthy relationships, he pulled me aside in the parking lot, rain misting his lashes. Alex, this place is breaking us. I got a lead on an apartment in Columbus, cousin's hookup. Come with me. After graduation, the offer dangled, seductive as sin. And Ryan, the team, forget them. It's you and me. Freedom, freedom. The word tasted like contraband candy. But leaving Ryan to drown, that betrayal would haunt deeper than any kiss. April bloomed tentative, dogwoods blushing pink against the thaw. Track season filled the void, sprints around the cinder oval, lungs burning clean. David and I trained together, his form poetry, mine grit. Off track, we dreamed aloud. Art school for him, agribusiness for me. Weekends in dive bars belting Thunder Road. Ryan resurfaced at the spring fair, midway lights strobing, air thick with funnel cake and diesel. He manned the ring toss booth, vest ill-fitting on his frame, smile practiced. I wandered over, quarters jingling. Luck's a bitch, I said, tossing miss. He caught the ring midair, flipping it back. Nah. Just aim true. Our fingers brushed. Spark jumping. Heard about Columbus. You going? Maybe. I aimed again, clink. Prize, a stuffed buckeye. For you. His laugh cracked. Genuine. Thanks. Harp. Pause. Heavy. David's good for you. Treats you right. Jealousy flickered, but softer now. Yeah. He does. We talked then, real talk, under the Ferris wheel's groan. His motel life. Lonely nights. Job apps stacking like cordwood. My home. Dad's gruff silences thawing to questions over breakfast. How's that boy David? Mom's casseroles laced with tentative acceptance. You deserve happy. Alex, Ryan said, eyes on the horizon where lights met stars. Even if it's not with me, the words ached, a bruise tenderizing. I hugged him goodbye, quick and fierce, the scent of cotton candy clinging. But happiness? Milford had one last sucker punch. Prom night loomed, black tie farce in the armory. David pressed, go with me. Public. Show him. Fear coiled, but love, fierce, foolish won. We walked in arm, me in Dad's old tux, tailored hasty. David in slim black, looking like trouble wrapped in silk. Heads turned, murmurs rippling like pond stones. Katie Sims gawked. Tommy sneered from the punchline. We danced, slow, defiant, to Wonderwall. His head on my shoulder, world fading to bass thump. Then Ryan entered. Stag. Suit rumpled, eyes locking on us. He nodded blessing, farewell, and melted into the crowd. Mid-song, chaos erupted. Tommy, 3 sheets to the wind, stormed the floor, sloshing punch. Fairy parade, bowl appended, red stain blooming on David's shirt like blood. Fists clenched, David lunged. I hauled him back as security swarmed. Tommy dragged out bellowing slurs. The music died, spotlight harsh. Principal's voice crackled. Party's over, folks. Clear out. Outside, rain lashed the lot, David shaking with rage. I'm done, Alex. Done hiding. But this, it's war. We drove in silence, wipers slapping rhythm. At his aunt's, he turned, eyes storm dark. Choose. Or this hellhole. The ultimatum landed like a fumble in the red zone. David. Now. Alex. Or I'm gone. Panic surged. Don't. Please. But he was already packing, duffel zipping like finality. Door shut behind him at 2 a.m., taillights fading into the downpour. Dawn broke gray. I texted Ryan, need you. Fairgrounds. Now. He arrived on foot, soaked, concern etching deeper lines. What happened? I spilled, prom, punch, David's flight. Ryan listened, then pulled me into the empty pavilion, rain drumming tin roof. He's scared too. Like me. But running, that's not you, Alex. Then what is? He cupped my face, thumbs brushing tears I hadn't noticed. Staying. Fighting. For all of us. His kiss was inevitable, soft at first, then deepening, a homecoming after exile. Ryan's taste. Familiar, bittersweet, laced with regret. We broke apart gasping, foreheads pressed. What now? I whispered. Together, he said. If you'll have me, but togetherness in Milford, it demanded blood. May's warmth coaxed green from the earth, but my world stayed wintry. David's texts went unanswered, miss you. Call. Guilt a stone in my gut. Ryan and I tiptoed into fragile normalcy. Coffee runs to the diner, where Flo the waitress winked and poured free refills. Late-night drives to the overpass, feet dangling over the tracks, trains rumbling below like buried secrets. He'd changed, harder edges from the streets, but softer too, vulnerability cracking his quarterback shell. "Love you still," he'd say, hand in mine, stars pricking the velvet sky. "Always did. Just took a detour." I'd squeeze back, the lie unspoken, so did David. Betrayal's echo lingered, a low hum. Was I mending with Ryan out of love? Or loneliness? Graduation loomed, caps and gowns a rite of passage laced with dread. Dad cornered me in the barn one sunset, pitchfork paused mid-hay. Heard Ellis skip town. "That right," I nodded, forking deeper, sweat stinging eyes. "Good riddance." He leaned on the handle, face weathered as oak. "Son, I been prayin'. Readin'. This gay thing is sin, Bible says. But you're my blood, so we figure it. Church has a group ex-gays. Try it." The offer hung. Olive branch or noose. "Dad, I can't change who I am." His sigh was whined through wheat. "Then what? Lose you to the devil's call." Mom intervened later, pie cooling on the sill. "Give him time, Jim. Alex is good." "That's enough." Enough. The word chafed, but it was progress, cracks in the foundation. Ryan's world teetered too. His mom smuggled groceries, but Dad Caldwell's shadow loomed. Rumors of disownment at the VFW, truckers muttering about weak stock. Ryan landed a gig at the auto shop, wrenching under hoods, grease blackening his nails. "Buildin' something," he'd say, flexing a scarred hand. "For us." The pronoun warmed, but David's ghost intruded. A postcard from Chicago, postmarked late, found a gig at a coffee shop. "Thinking of you. Forgive, D." I burned it in the sink, flame twisting the words to ash. The climax brewed at the senior prank, Milford tradition, mischief under moon. The plan, TP the statue of Old Man Lincoln in the square, streamers of white fluttering like surrender flags. Half the class showed, giggles muffled, but Tommy's crew lurked, tipped off. It went south fast. Eggs splattered the bronze face. Laughter turned to shouts as flashlights pierced the dark. "Gotcha! Freaks!" Tommy bellowed, charging with a bat, aluminum gleam, swing wild. Chaos, screams, gatters, my shin cracking on curb as I shoved Becca Klein clear. Ryan tackled Tommy mid-swing, bat clattering, fists flying in a blur of grunts and curses. I lunged in, pulling Ryan off, blood slick on his lip. "Enough!" Sirens wailed, blue-red pulsing. Cuffs clicked. Tommy, Ryan, me in the back of cruisers. Mom's station wagon screeching up, face ashen. "Alexander!" Station house smelled of stale coffee and regret. Pastor Jim arrived, Bible in tow, praying over us like exorcism. Dad posted bail, face granite. Home. Now. Ryan's arraignment was dawn. Misdemeanor assault. Community service. His dad didn't show. Mom wept in the hall, hugging him fierce. "I'm proud, baby." No matter what. I waited outside, truck idling. He slid in, bruised but unbroken. "Worth it," he muttered, ice pack to jaw. "For what? A statue? For you." His eyes met mine, steady. Always. That night, in the cab of his beat-up Chevy. Windows fogged. We crossed the line we danced around. Kisses turned fervent. Hands urgent. Clothes shedding like old skin. Ryan's body was map and memory. Familiar plains. New explorations. Love you, he gasped. Moving with me. The truck rocking gentle on shocks. Release came shattering. A dam breaking. Tears salting our skin. After, tangled in blankets from the back seat, he traced my collarbone. Columbus? We could go. Together, the dream flickered, but roots ran deep. What about family? The team? He shrugged, wincing at the bruise. They adapt. Or we do without em. But adaptation's a slow burn. June sweltered. Graduation a blur of speeches and mortarboards sailing skyward. Valedictorian droned on pioneering spirits. But my eyes were on Ryan. Too rose up. Gown billowing. Grin flashing back. Diplomas in hand. We posed for pics, arms slung. Dad snapping away. Mom dabbing eyes. Proud of you. Boys. Dad grunted. The words awkward but earnest. Post-ceremony bash at the quarry. Bonfire roaring. Beers cracked. Futures toasted. David even showed brief. From afar. A nod across flames before vanishing into the crowd. No words. But closure in the distance. Ryan and I slipped away at midnight. To the bluffs overlooking the river. Fireflies winking like conspirators. Here's to us, he said. Clinking bottles. The words solidified. Clay firing to stone. But betrayal's embers smoldered. Tommy, out on probation, cornered Ryan at the shop a week later. Wrench to the ribs. Slurs hissed low. Stay away from Harper. Or next time it's permanent. Ryan didn't tell me. But bruises don't lie. I found out from Flo, who patched him at the diner. Fury boiled. I stormed Tommy's trailer park digs, pounding the flimsy door. He answered shirtless, sneer curling. Rainbow come to play? Touch him again. I growled. And I'll bury you. He laughed. But fear flickered. Your boys got secrets. Harper. Ask about that night in Toledo. Locker room whispers. The seed planted. I drove straight to Ryan's motel. Heart pounding. He was shirtless. Bandaging ribs. Jumping when I burst in. Alex? What? Tommy said Toledo. What happened? His face shuddered. Nothing. Prank gone wrong. Liar. I grabbed his arm. Gentle but firm. Tell me. Sigh. Defeated. He sank to the bed. Head in hands. After the fight, coach's office. Tommy cornered me alone. Offered a deal. Drop the fag talk. Or he outs me to my dad for real. Agreed. Kept quiet about you to save my skin. The room tilted. You bargained me away? Not like that. I thought it was over. Before David. Before us. Before. Rage crested. You let him bully me for months. Tears streaked his face. I'm poison. Alex. Always was. Run. With David. Anyone. But run. I stormed out. Door rattling. Driving blind through dusk. Miles blurred to Columbus. Streetlights blooming like accusations. David's coffee shop glowed warm. I pushed in. Bell tinkling. He looked up from the espresso machine. Apron dusted flour. Eyes widening. Alex. Words tumbled. Ryan's betrayal layered on his own flight, the mess I'd waited. He listened, then rounded the counter, pulling me into the back, arms solid. I left 'cause I was scared, too, of hurting you more. But I never stopped. I kissed him, desperate, tasting foam and forgiveness. Don't leave again. He didn't. That night, in his tiny apartment, posters peeling, bed sagging, we reclaimed what fractured. David's touch was fire reignited, urgent and tender, bodies sinking like lost time found. Stay, he breathed, climax shuddering through us. Build here, Columbus pulsed, diverse, defiant. We crashed with his cousin, job hunted, me at a feed store, him slinging lattes. Text to Ryan, need space. But not goodbye. His reply, take it. Deserve it. Love always. Back in Milford, Dad called weekly, gruff check-ins evolving to questions. That city suit you? Mom sent care packages, jerky, pie mix, a rainbow keychain for luck. Summer waned. Ryan's updates sparse. Service hours at the food bank. Dad thawing over beers at the VFW. Healing, he wrote. You? Trying? I replied. With David, the trying bloomed, picnics in Goodale Park. Hands laced public. Nights debating futures over cheap wine. Love, real and rooted, not desperation's clutch. But the heart's a hoarder, keeping shards. Fall crept back. Leaves carpeting Columbus sidewalks in ochre and rust. The city hum a bomb to Milford's hush. David and I settled into rhythm. Mornings tangled in his loft's thrift store sheets. Coffee brewing as sunlight slanted through blinds. Evenings wandering the short north. Gallery hops and street musicians strumming covers of Hallelujah. He sketched me once. Pencil strokes capturing the curve of my jaw. Eyes shadowed with old storms. My muse, he teased, but his gaze held reverence. Yet Ryan lingered, a half-healed scar itching. His texts evolved from pleas to updates. Coached Pee Wee League. Kids don't judge. A photo, him mid-tackle demo. Grin wide, bruises faded. Miss the field. Miss you. I'd stare, thumb hovering, then type, proud. Keep fighting. Dad visited once. Awkward drive in his F-150. Parked curbside. Thermos of Folgers in hand. City's loud, he grunted, eyeing a drag queen on High Street. But then, you look. Happy, son. That's something that we talked, halting, honest. About the church group he tried, felt like lies. Mom's quiet support, she's readin' books, Ellen something. We messed up, he admitted, voice rough. But family's family. Doors open, hug goodbye, brief but bone-crushing. Love you, Dad. Gay and all, his chuckle rumbled. Yeah. Figured that part out. Mom came next. Train from Milford. Wide-eyed at the farmer's market. Fresh everything. We baked her pie in David's oven. Lopsided lattice. But her laugh filled the cracks. This boy's a keeper. Alex. Treat him right. David blushed, charming her with stories of Cleveland winters. That night, over takeout Thai, she whispered. Ryan called. Asked after you. Said to tell you. He's sorry. Again, the name dropped like a stone in still water. I nodded, throat tight. October's harvest moon swelled, pulling me back. OSU game weekend, Buckeyes vs. That Michigan scum, and Ryan's invite. Tailgate, neutral ground. David encouraged, go. Closure's a gift. Milford welcomed wary. Fields gold with corn, air crisp with bonfire smoke. Ryan waited at the old quarry, cooler stocked, face tanned from coaching fields. Leaner, but stronger, eyes clear, no shadows. Harp, he grinned, pulling me into a bro hug that lingered. Look at you, city slicker. We cracked beers, sat on logs, the pit crackling low. Talk flowed easy. His peewees, one kid's got your arm. My feed gig, smells like home, minus the drama. Laughter bridged gaps, but undercurrents swirled. You with him? For real? Ryan asked, poking embers. Yeah. David's. Home now. He nodded, smile wistful. Good. Deserve that. Pause. Fire popping. Me? Dated a bit. Girl from church. But it's flat. Like eaten Wonder Bread after fresh baked. The admission hung. Vulnerable. Nah. Don't. I'm learning me. Therapy, yeah. Me. On a couch spillin' to some shrink. Turns out, Dad's issues? Not mine to carry. His voice steadied. And you? Pushed you away. Betrayed us both. But seeing you happy. That's the win. Tears pricked. I blinked them back. Miss you, man. The old US. He clasped my shoulder. Grip firm. Old US is foundation. New us? Whatever we build. Lean in. Foreheads touching. A benediction. Not blaze. Friends? Always. The word sealed it. Mending the tear. David met us at the tailgate, red jersey. Face paint stripes. Cheering as OSU steamrolled. Ryan and he shook hands. Tentative then true. Talk of plays. City life. Shared glances of respect. No jealousy. Just men owning their messes. Post-game. Bars overflowed. But we three slipped to a quiet tavern off high. Wings steaming. Jukebox crooning Garth. Stories swapped. David's Cleveland wipeouts. Ryan's fair escapades. My hay bale forts. Laughter roared. Barriers crumbling like dry clay. Mid-toast. To second chances. Ryan's phone buzzed. Face paled. Dad. We fell silent. He answered. Voice steady. Yeah. Murmurs. Then, comin' home? For real. Pause. Okay. We'll talk. He hung. Eyes glistening. Said he's sorry. Watched a doc on Netflix. Of all things. Wants to try. David clapped his back. That's huge. Man. Ryan nodded. Drained but dawning. Yeah. Huge. Driving back to the loft. David at the wheel. Me shotgun. City lights streaking. You good? He asked. Hand on my thigh. Better than. I leaned over, kissing his cheek, salt and stubble. Thank you. Inside. We celebrated slow. Wine poured. Bodies swaying to Coltrane on vinyl. Kisses deepening to undress. David's hands were artists. Mapping desire. Mine. Anchors. Holding steady. Love-making unfolded like a river. Meandering. Profound. Cresting in shared gasps. Forever? He whispered after. Bent in my arms. Forever, I echoed, meaning it bone deep. November frosted the windows. Thanksgiving a bridge. We hosted. Mom and Dad in from Milford. Ryan tagging along, his dad notably absent but thawing via texts. Table groaned, turkey brined, pie lattice perfect, laughter mingling with stories. Dad carved, gruff, pass the gravy, fairy, but the wink softened it to joke. Ryan regaled with Pee-wee tales. Mom quizzed David on art. Draw me something, dear. Toasts clinked, to family, flawed and fierce. After dishes sudsing, Ryan pulled me to the fire escape, city sprawl below. This you, Alex. Big sky, bigger heart. I hugged him, brotherly. You too, Re. Don't be a stranger. Wouldn't dream. Winter solstice brought snow, blanketing Columbus in hush. David and I strung lights on the balcony, cocoa steaming, dreams voiced, his gallery show, my AG co-op pitch. Ryan's Christmas card arrived, photo of him and his dad fishing the Wabash, arms slung, grins tentative. Healing. You, whole, I wrote back. Love to you both. Spring unfurled, dogwoods echoing that first bloom. Prom anniversary past quiet. A dinner at Schmidt's. Sausage platters and strudel. Dancing in the loft to no music but our hum. 1 year, David murmured, slow turning me. Best mistake I never made. Summer hummed. Internships and road trips. David to NYC for a workshop. Me tagging. Skyline dwarfing our small-town bones. We kissed atop the Empire State. Wind whipping. World at our feet. Ryan's wedding invite came fall. To that church girl? No. A commitment ceremony. Him and a guy from therapy group. Quiet affair in Milford's Park. Bring your man, he scrawled. Witness our crazy. We did. Standing under oak's gold-leaved. Ryan in linen suit. Partner Mark, beaming shy. Vows exchanged. Simple. In mess and mend. I choose you. Rings glinted. Cheers rose. Dad clapping Ryan's back. Mom dabbing tears. Reception. Picnic blankets. Banjo strumming bluegrass. David sketched the couple mid-dance. I snuck a beer with Ryan by the creek. Happy? I asked. Damn right. He clinked bottles. You couldn't ask more. As dusk fell, fireflies rising, David found me, hand extended. Dance? We did under stars, bodies close, Ryan's laughter mingling with the night. Betrayals faded to footnotes, conflicts to character, the locker room's steam a distant echo. Life, in its American sprawl, flawed, fervent, forgiving, unfolded. Not perfect, but profoundly ours. Love's quiet revolution, one stolen glance at a time. In the end, we didn't shatter. We shone refracted, resilient, real.